And I'll tell you guys since we're all friends. Every character I write has a piece of me in them. Hi, I'm Lee Bardugo. You're listening to the Grisha Cast.
Welcome to GrishaCast, episode 153. In this episode, we will be discussing season 2, episode 6 of Netflix Shadow and Bone, Niwe Sesh, I Have No Heart. This is your host, Eric.
And I'm Terry from Nashville, Tennessee. This is your podcast for all things Grishaverse.
A world created by our very own bonesmith, Lee Bardugo. Moi Saviani casters.
Hello, everyone.
Woohoo! We have some shitties.
We do. First, we have Borgo Monero, Italy.
Yay! And then we're moving on to Yongsan-gu, Korea.
Woo!
Yay. So, thank you, listeners.
Thank you.
So, how are you?
Oh.
That good?
So good. Hashtag blessed.
Oh my God. Yes. Hashtag blessed.
No, I'm very lucky to be busy. I'm very, very busy. It's Second Chance Month. For anyone that doesn't know, that's a actual national month from the federal government that's set aside to recognize that people coming out of incarceration need second chances. So we have events all across Middle Tennessee. We're going to campuses, we're going to businesses, we're going literally everywhere. It's 12 to 14-hour days, and it's navigating lots of things. But we're a whole big social media campaign that I guess unfortunately I have to do. So if you're interested, THEI on our socials has a lot on there. I could talk about it for like 5 days straight, and I won't. But that's why I say I'm blessed to be stressed, because it's a lot going on. But the awareness and the amount of community that have come forward to help has been tremendous.
It's awesome because I had no clue about it. I had never heard about it. And I think it's just such a good way to give back and to help people that really need it. And I definitely get it. I think it's amazing. And I know you've got so much going on and it's stressful, but it's one of those good stresses. Mm-hmm. You feel good when you finally do get to lay down, and it's okay, but it's rewarding.
Yes. At the end of the night after we do a big panel, it's driving home of I just worked 12 hours, but it's your heart feels good that you've done something good.
Yeah.
And I think there's 450 plus things that a previously incarcerated person will run into as far as an absolute barrier. Housing, food, jobs, cars, signing anything is a massive barrier.
The jobs
voting,
and
literally
so
many things. So, imagine if you didn't know how to use the technology that everybody else is using. There's just so many things that they just they face. And I know I haven't talked about my job too much, so this is kind of the most I've really talked about it. But part of my job is to make sure that we are helping with those things. So it's it's making the calls, it's finding out how to break those barriers. Our whole mission is breaking cycles of harm. So it's backbreaking work, and we say it's hard work and it's heart work.
Aw.
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
It's super stressful. We're only a team of 9. So it's...
Wow.
Yes, it's a lot.
Well, but you guys do amazing work, and I think it's incredible, especially the fact that you and I both work similar jobs, but on different...
It's on opposite ends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think a lot of people think about the things that people that have been incarcerated face when they come out. And they one thing that you just said that I was thinking about is if they've been incarcerated for I don't know, maybe 20 years or so, the fact of how technology is really different.
Yes.
Learning about maybe cell phones or texting and like just
Mm-hmm.
everything's online now, especially like applying for jobs. It used to be always filling out an actual, like, I
Uh-huh.
mean, piece of paper, but now everything's online and how difficult that would be for someone incarcerated that had been.
One of our alumni is our age.
Okay.
He went in at the age of 19 and he came out at
Wow.
the age of 41. So we know what the world was like when we were 19 years old.
That's crazy.
And then to just be shoved into this world,
That's
like
insane.
think about so I'll just say like late 90s. Just imagine how much has changed.
The
from
internet
that
was
point.
just starting. Like, I mean, it was like
It was
AOL.
a baby.
Yeah, like a itty bitty baby. Like we emailed, like, but there was no text messaging.
No.
People that did have cell phones had like huge ones,
Mhm.
and texting.
They weren't smartphones by any stretch of the imagination.
Not at all.
And so then to like go find a job and they're like, can you use Office Suite? Windows 10.
Oof.
Can you use this? The answer is no. So part of our job is to make sure that they get that training. But still, I mean,
That's
luckily our students get some training because they have to access certain things for coursework.
okay.
But still, to come out, this poor man basically got shoved a cell phone, an Apple phone, when he came out, and he's like, I don't know what this is. And then the
Wow.
guy's like, oh, and this Apple Watch comes free with it. And he's just standing there like staring at it. And it took me back to when we were 19 and just, if I was away for
Yeah.
this amount of time and then just came out into the world and like, here you go, here's these things.
You'd be
cannot
lost.
even imagine.
It'd be horrifying. It's a whole different world, like in that span of time, and it's just wow. I can't imagine. I feel like there's some kind of Netflix show I was watching where this like I think this topic kind of came up, but I can't remember it, and I'm not going to try to remember right now because. But well, that's amazing. That's So is that every year? Like I mean, every like
April.
wow.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, now we
Yeah.
know.
Yes,
That's incredible.
Now you know.
Woohoo.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else going on besides like I mean, I know you've got that.
Oh. Yeah. I mean, it's the last couple weeks of my grad school class, so
yeah. Well,
papers, finals.
You
There's
got
that
this.
fun things. And we've got all these orientations at work, signing up students for the summer semester. Alden is in a play in 2 weeks.
Woohoo!
So those of you in theater will know what Hell Week is. But he basically has 2 Hell Weeks because they are in until like 9 p.m. every day,
Well, yeah.
Saturday and Sunday. Like it's a lot. It's very intense.
I'm excited for him though because I just love theater and I
Right?
love Hell Week. I
And you know how stressful Hell Week is, but then like once
it's
you get
fun.
past the first
Oh,
public performance, such a high. You ride like the highest high,
it's
and it makes
amazing.
everything like so worth it.
Exactly, and that's just I don't know. Everything comes together, and then it's your whole family. Like I always think of everybody that's in a like show. You have like this
Mhm.
special like family, and how sad it is when you do your last performance.
Yes.
It's like oh my god. I love theater.
Yeah,
I
last
miss it.
semester, Alden was like, I don't want to do this again. It's so stressful. And then when
Mhm.
the last performance went through, he was like, I'm doing it again. I was like, see,
Good.
I told you. Once you get through those proud moments, then you just can't let it go. It's a drug now. You have to
It
keep
is.
going.
Theater arts is definitely a drug.
It
It
is.
is like that. I love that stuff. So,
You work off adrenaline.
well, yeah, and there's so many different people involved in a show.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be on stage. You don't have to. You can be scared of being on stage and still find many different things that you can do, like with a show. And it's
Yep.
just, ugh, brings
He's
back good
on
memories.
sets and props this time. So
Woohoo.
he likes to tell me that no one's allowed to touch the props multiple times, and then I have to laugh and tell him stories about when we were in high
Oh,
school. I was like, oh, I never listened. I touched the prop all the time, especially the knife where the blade would go into the handle, the stabby stab knife.
Yep.
Like, oh, I touched that thing all the time. I had
You
to
had to.
stab whoever was near me. I mean, like, how
You
could you
had
not?
to.
It's like illegal not to.
I loved all the props, and you always played with everybody's props. anyway, even if you weren't allowed to. But
Exactly.
who cares?
That's part of the fun of it.
Exactly. What show is he doing again?
Anastasia.
That's right. Oh my God, that's your favorite.
I know.
Oh,
He did Sense and Sensibility last semester, and then when she announced Anastasia, I was like, "Are you kidding me?
they're doing
Like,
this
are
for
you
you.
doing this for me?"
It sounds like it. It sounds
Right?
exactly like the Terry lineup.
I know.
Wow.
I'm like interested to hear what we're doing next semester, but Alden keeps coming home singing the St. Petersburg song. I won't sing it. Everybody that knows Anastasia, that song is now in your head and you're welcome.
Thank you.
You're
Mhm.
welcome.
So I'm trying to think if there's anything. There's nothing really going on with me. Not that I know, just craziness like usual.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Nothing happened in the last week.
no, nothing really that. I don't think so. Trying. No, this episode was really good though. I will say, like,
my gosh.
I was definitely excited, and because I think I talked about this last time. You and Alden have like your favorite episode, and you were
Mhm.
able to say that, and I was like, I couldn't remember any of that, but I definitely can see how this would be your favorite episode.
This is the episode where when it was done, Alden and I had to pause for a little bit to like take it all in, and I
Mhm.
texted you
Yes.
and I was like, "Holy S, episode 6." And you're like, "Wait, which one was that?" And I had to give a couple examples, but
Yeah.
my word, the whole episode, my mouth was open, my heart's breaking, literally so many things.
It is, and I love that it's connected to episode 5 because
Mhm.
episode 5 and 6 definitely are connected,
Yeah. Mhm.
and they're supposed to be. And it's neat. I like how they did the names, the titles of the episode,
Mhm.
because they are the proverbs, like the Shuhan proverbs that we had read about, and it's just neat because we also get to see the story of our Shu Sanktya,
Mhm.
and that was amazing to me because now it finally got like her whole story came out, and that is cool. So cool.
Yeah. And she's amazing.
She is like, oh my god, she can kick some
Yes.
really hard.
Yes.
Okay, so let's think. There's 2 storylines in this episode that we're pretty
Mhm.
much following, and we have been, which is we've got the crows,
Yes.
and then we've got the whole Alina story,
Mhm.
and that storyline, Alina's storyline, also had some really cool stuff going on because
Yeah.
Bagra, I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, there was yes, there was a lot going on there. And I went to Google a few times to see people that don't know the story. Are you understanding like the Mao thing?
Right.
Did you see it coming? And almost everything I found was they didn't see it coming.
What?
So,
Really?
yeah, I mean, we're biased because we've always known, but I found that really interesting.
Yeah, I find that really hard to believe because I mean, Alina like won like in I don't know what episode it was, but when she all of a sudden is seeing like the big light of like
Yeah.
Mal and like it was when they were killing the sea whip. That's
Mhm.
right. Like I just think there's so many
Yeah.
different like hints towards it. How do you not see that
Even
coming?
this episode, like Alina doesn't catch on until the very end, and we were screaming the whole episode. We're like, "Come on!" Like there are
Yeah.
so many things, and even like Bagra is trying to make you understand.
Oh, she is.
Before they even get to the cave or home or whatever it is, like they're like Bagra is literally like guiding them with stories and everything else, and both of them are just like, I don't know what's happening.
They have no clue, which to me I find I don't know. It's good storytelling, but at the same time I feel like the hints just have been thrown at them this entire time. I think the episode starts out with Bagra, Mal, and Alina like sitting around a campfire,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when she tells her story and explains how like Mortzova was her father,
Yes.
and Alina finding that out I think was like I don't know, she was it's a cool it's definitely a really neat.
I'm glad they
Like,
changed that part of it. Like,
yeah,
love the original story, but it was also kind of cool to get that side of it too.
absolutely, and especially how she goes in depth about her sister dying and
Yes.
how everybody's read this story, which is the story that's in the Histori Sanctia,
Hmm.
the Lives of Saints book, and actually the story's different. It's similar, but it's different. And actually, Bagra was the one that killed her
Yeah.
sister by accident, but also kind of. I don't think she meant to like kill her,
Right.
but
She probably wasn't aware of like the strength of her powers. Yeah.
exactly, yeah. So that was really cool. I definitely like geeked out when hearing that part.
Hmm.
I loved how getting into Mortsova's cave, it's only like Mortsova blood. I thought that was cool because in the original story it wasn't a cave. It was like I
I
feel like
was
it.
trying to think.
I think it was like a little place or like a house. I don't remember it being a cave, but I
Was
don't
it?
know.
I want to say like Mortsova's place was in a village.
Yeah,
But
it was.
don't come for me. I don't remember. But that's just what my brain is.
You're right. It was though because we in Rule of Wolves they went back to it like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was. So this was just like a little change, which hey,
I
it
mean, for
worked.
TV, like
Hey,
it was more dramatic and
yeah,
more visually appealing, I guess.
I get it.
Yeah.
It's stimulating. So,
Mm-hmm.
but that whole storyline, I think they did just a
Like,
really good job.
like all the stuff inside, it's all gone now.
Oh, are you talking about the fact that Bogger like burned it down?
Yes, it's all
Yeah.
gone. All of the things.
All the stuff, all the knowledge. That was different too. Like
Yeah.
I mean, so in Ruin and Rising, we are used to Bagra jumping off of
Yes.
a cliff or I don't know. It's something where
Mm-hmm.
she's pretty much taking the Nichevoyo with her.
Right.
This
She's
is
still sacrificing herself.
she exactly. It's just not exactly the same way because it still has to do with the Darkling. Like I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the Darkling is the one that does he like? Could you say the Darkling killed Bagra?
I think so.
Okay,
Yeah.
so just a couple differences, but I liked it. I liked watching it, and I didn't want Bagra to die. I love her so much. I love the actress that plays her. I think she's just such a fun character to watch and see. So, anyways,
I like the whole like it it reminds me of Star Wars when she like cuts his hand off. And so now he's got this like
that's right.
fake hand because she's severing the tie.
Yeah, and that's a really cool part that they threw in there too. Like, I mean, when he gets his like amplifier hand,
Yeah.
like that's
And
crazy.
uses her bones at the wrist.
That's so weird and like just
Uh-huh.
so different. And I think it's brilliant, especially also how he's sharing Bagra's like amplifier bones with his Grisha.
Yes.
That's so
That is not something I caught before. Like I knew that was what was going on, but I didn't catch the line of we have set aside some
Yeah.
of the bone dust for select Grisha. I missed that particular line last time.
It's different, but I loved it. I think that's a really cool like
Isn't it? I think I heard Jesse and a few others on set call this the teal season.
What?
Do you remember? Like, this is not this episode, but the select Grisha, some of they're wearing teal.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So when in some of the interviews, we're laughing and calling it the teal season.
Well, that makes sense. However, I've wanted to understand what that color is all
Right?
about because that completely threw me off when I was watching it for the first time. Because
We sat there forever trying to analyze it because there's
Yeah.
still a red, there's still a blue,
Mhm.
there's still like the normal colors, but then we've just got this teal mixed in. But I couldn't figure out like what made that different than everything else. And we can super analyze that when we come to it. But like,
yeah, I don't know. It's just it's his special like Grisha like
mm-hmm.
friend that like
his goth
Yep.
companion.
Yes, that's right. His goth Grisha,
She's
who
got goth bangs going on.
she's something, and she's not squalor. She is I can't. What could she amplify? It's water, right? So
Is it water or wind?
oh, it's water, I think,
Water,
because she
and then
moves.
the other girl is wind, right?
I think so. Yeah, because the goth girl manipulate. Well, maybe it is. She moves the waterfall in one of the episodes where they find Mortsova's journal. Like she has like the. So it could be water or wind. Who knows?
Maybe both.
Possibly. Well, let's see. So that's how the episode starts with, like, that storyline. Then we also can't forget how we ended with the crows, because that was a cliffhanger.
Yeah, that whole thing is like, I don't know.
There's a lot to unpack.
It's a roller coaster ride through every like Disney horror house.
You're absolutely right. It really is. And so it ended, the last episode ended with us seeing like Kaz fall back into like water. And it was obviously he's like dreaming or hallucinating, like, and they all are, that they've been poisoned by some kind of, I don't know,
orange mist.
Yeah, some kind of smoky smoke. And they're all dreaming, and Jesper seems to have a connection that is with his mother, and him coming to terms with accepting himself. And
who all cried their eyeballs out
yeah,
at his hallucination. Like, I died through that whole thing, and even thinking about it like gets me teary-eyed. Like, he did a good job. He had tears flowing. Like, my heart.
it was beautiful.
Just absolutely. Oh,
I
it was
agree.
amazing.
It was gorgeous. So seeing his and he seems to be the only one that I guess had like a really positive or uplifting, like.
Yeah, I mean, Inej did a little bit. I feel like some of these hallucinations was kind of a gift to the fans of like, here's things that like you wanted to see.
Yes.
It was like a gift, because the whole Inej and Kaz situation.
So so Inej, her hallucination is what? Like, I mean, like, I can't figure.
Is Kaz touching her and wanting her?
Okay,
because
gotcha.
he doesn't have his glove on and he's stroking her face and
that. Okay,
yeah,
gotcha. And then Kaz's is it's his brother.
Jordy.
Okay, yeah, and that's very like dark
and still feeling like he's drowning all the time.
Okay, gotcha. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I love this episode, and there's so much in it. I think like when I couldn't remember what Inej, like what her hallucination was. It was like, even after watching it again today, like I think I was like even like taking notes on something else or thinking, and I just like totally had like a brain fart, and I was just like, oh my God, what was that? But thank you. It totally comes. Yeah. So, and then we've got one more. Who else is there with them?
Tolia. It was the stabbing of his sister.
That's right. Yes. Okay.
Tamar.
Yep.
They say Tamar in the show, and I don't know why I start second guessing myself. Like, we've always said Tamar. Everyone I know of has always said Tamar. But now we've got Tamar. So I don't know what to do now.
Girl, let's just keep on saying Tamar. I'm good with it because that's what I've been saying. So,
but it's that whole hallucination scene. Everyone's hallucination was just, I don't know, again, magical. It was like a gift to the fans because finally we get to see Inej and Kaz doing a thing.
It's a lot.
But then afterwards, he asked her what she saw, and she said hope. But you're right, hope clouds judgment.
Yep.
And I thought that was very powerful.
I agree.
Because in that moment, she's trying to talk herself out of it. This isn't real. I need to wake up. And so in that moment, hope was clouding her judgment. So now she's kind of taken that out into the awake world.
Jesper says something where, like, was I the only one that saw something like that was like
Yeah.
positive and Kaz says something that like it's not denying, like it wasn't very like, do you remember what he said?
I
Or
don't
like
remember what he
I
said.
can't either, but it was something like it was just very abrupt and very much like Kaz, where it's like just
Don't want to talk
denying.
about it.
Exactly. So I caught that, but we can't forget how also Wylan helps
Yeah.
them like get out of this, which I thought was actually kind of
And that was our
cool.
butterfly scene. Remember when we were
Yes.
doing the trailer, we were like, where is he that it looks the way it looks in like aesthetic that it is, and there's
Mhm.
butterflies. Like, where in the heck is he? Because it's beautiful.
It's
But here it
gorgeous.
is.
Yeah. Even the scene in the trailer where we see someone jumping over a Nej,
Yeah.
it's the same thing because I was like,
It's the
what?
Oracle.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's a beautiful like set that they've got for this whole thing. But I love that the butterfly is the antidote.
Yes, you have to eat a beautiful butterfly.
Yeah, and that like I love he figured it out, and
It's gonna be really weird. Have you ever gotten like a butterfly or moth in your mouth?
I can't say I have.
It's so gross. A lot
Oh,
of them will put out like a powdery inky substance as
oh
their
gosh.
like deterrent.
Oh,
And so that's the whole thing I could think about while they were chewing the butterfly
oh,
is that texture and taste.
yeah. Oh God.
You should go eat a butterfly.
Yes. Oh my God. That sounds horrible. They
Oh
were
my
so pretty
goodness.
too. The
Oh,
colors.
yeah, they were like blue morpho butterflies. Yeah.
Yeah, they were so pretty.
They were very pretty, but they got chewed up.
Yeah,
And it was just so magical that there were enough for everyone.
exactly. And I thought it
That's
was funny
convenient.
when Inej was like, "Get 3 more." Like she was like ordering like a
Yes.
couple drinks or something. It's
I
like,
thought it was hilarious that she started chewing on it before Wylan even told her to.
did that happen? Did
Yes,
she?
it's in her mouth, and he's like, "Eat it."
Well, maybe she was, she was just like, whatever.
Editing.
At this point,
I just thought it was funny.
I'll have to go back and look at that. That's
And then
funny.
she's like shoving butterflies in their
That-
mouths.
That's what's interesting to me too, was seeing that, because I can't remember whether it was Kaz or whoever, but like I feel like you would have to like definitely like ingest the
Yes.
butterfly, but it kind of looked like some of them were barely like even keeping it in their mouth. They're like, if they're passed out, how are they going to chew?
And then it's like they're magically like, "Oh, I'm awake."
Yeah, that it worked really quickly.
It did.
So I mean, go
And how
Wylan
do you not choke on a blue morpho butterfly when it's shoved in your mouth? I don't know.
and laying on your back.
Yes.
Don't forget that.
But we also Tolia during that whole time is trying to slow his heart down as well. Like he's trying to
Yeah.
stay conscious like as long as possible. I thought that was kind of a cool
Yeah,
touch too.
I like that. I saw that too, and I thought that was really neat because I feel like he's like the only person that's not panicking,
Mm-hmm.
because like you see him just like really like it kind of looks like he's almost trying to meditate in a way, or just like he's trying
He's-
to
I saw it as maybe he was trying to not take as many breaths, like not trying
Yeah.
to inhale as much of the
the orange
mist. Like if he slowed himself down, maybe
Agent Orange, even though it's not Agent
it
Orange,
is not Agent Orange.
but some kind. Yeah, so really cool scene, and then
Mhm.
I love that when they wake up, we don't know what their plan is, but then we get to see the plan unfold.
Mhm.
And so, what's her name? Our
There's
Sanctia
an N. Nayar.
Nayar. That's
Mhm.
right. We get to see her come back home, and they pretty much have made it look just like everything had happened. Like, I mean, because obviously she got notified that someone broke in or whatever, and
Yeah.
we see her come and like waiting for the hourglass to empty.
Mhm.
I guess that shows that maybe she
She's
could.
clearly done this before.
I guess, yeah. I mean, she's had to like keep her honey safe
Mhm.
and like her thing, so it's safe. She goes in, and then she sees it's all 3 of them are laying as if they're still passed out, except for Kaz. We don't
Yeah.
see Kaz, and I just thought it was really well done. I think like especially watching Inej like really slowly like come out of the like ceiling and drop and like just be silent.
Mhm.
That whole fight scene I
The
thought was really cool.
It was amazing. I'm not always one for fight scenes, but like this was so well done because it was such a good mix of like Grisha and non-Grisha and like super cool powers, and it
Very
was
Matrixy, like I think in like parts of it
yeah.
when they like slow things down, and especially watching the Saints' powers. Like I mean,
Mhm.
she like holy, she is very powerful. Like I mean, she can just like stop anything and everything. And
As a theater person, imagine the choreography that went into that.
oh my god,
Can you even?
I would have so much fun doing it. I love like the choreography to fight scenes because it's just neat to see that all that to me is just kind of like it's like a dance. It's just learning the
Yeah,
different move, but you're going a lot faster, and I think it's so
super
cool.
fast. And then you have, it's not just you and one other person, there's all these moving pieces going on at once. And to imagine
Oof.
how smooth that had to run. And that's one of those things that I don't want to say ruins, but I don't get into a lot of movies and shows because I've been behind the scenes
Well, yeah.
and worked on things like that. But then to watch this fight scene and not think about that at the time
Hmm.
is a big deal. That's how well it was done because it took me out of
Yeah.
my head for a little bit, and then it was the second run through that I was like, "Oh my gosh," just imagining all the blocking and everything that had to.
I agree, and the blocking is like it's just so interesting when I love that. Maybe our topic is really like theater because we keep going back to like I that was one of my favorite things after learning a script was then going and learning your blocking
Yeah.
and like trying like in a scene like this, the blocking and like all that is like it's crazy because it's so much in like such a short period of time too, and in a actually like kind of a really small space.
Yes.
So
But it was just so beautiful when she jumps over an edge like that, and like the way her clothes even moved. It was
Inej,
really well done.
Inej is like I'm loving watching her this season because I feel like it's just like a little different than it was the first season. Like watching her, like she's got some more like moves that like I don't know how to explain it, but it's just like we see her like being like doing her ninja kind of like wraith
Mhm.
stuff more than and it's just really neat. I don't know how to explain it. I guess I just like we're seeing more things that she's doing
Yeah.
and the way that like her like the outfit she's wearing like it sways and I feel like I'm sounding like an idiot right now. I don't know how to describe it. It's just like we're seeing more stuff that she does and I'm loving it. So
Yeah.
I'll end it there with that.
We're seeing more of her skills and more of her
Yes.
Inej-ness that we had in the books. Like we're
There we
getting to
go.
see
Inej-ness.
Inej-ness.
That's it.
That's
That
Alden's favorite character.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. She is oh my I love all the characters, but so we then like I think it's really neat when we finally find out all like this whole story. Like I mean who she actually is
Yeah.
and it's just
Of
neat.
course, Inej is like, what?
Yeah, because and how like religious she is, like to
Mm-hmm.
find out that she's been a saint and I guess she's just been keeping her boyfriend like safe for like I mean that's what all this
Yeah.
is about.
I think there's a couple things in that, but I think it also it drives home the fact that powerful Grisha live for a long time because she talks about how she watched her family die, her friends die, everybody die,
Yeah.
and so she blocked her heart and didn't want to love anybody, and then she fell in love with this man, and obviously he's older and frail now, and so it kind of reiterates what the Darkling has been telling Alina this whole time too, that
Yeah.
like you're going to grow old, and Mal is going to grow old and die. Like Alina is just going to keep being powerful and live forever and ever. Um, so I think that kind of puts that into perspective too.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely like it points out how I guess lonely and like how heartbreaking it can be to have that much power because you watch all the ones you love like pass on and like
Hmm.
you like I don't know like Mal, yes, is this certain, like, he's young now, but eventually he's gonna get older and you're not.
Yeah.
And that would be, like, extreme. It's just like, being immortal pretty much. I mean,
Yeah.
I know that they're not immortal, right? Like, I mean, because they
No, because
but
obviously they can die.
exactly. It's just they don't
They just
age,
they just
right?
live for a very, very long time.
Okay, yeah. So it's a it's a beautiful story, and I love that they took it from the Lives of Saints,
Mm-hmm.
and that tale I didn't expect for them to use, but it totally makes sense, and
And it cracks me up that they were like, we just want to borrow it.
that is really
Like
funny.
after all of that, like we went through almost 2 episodes of absolute craziness, and they're like, can we borrow your sword?
It's cute.
But we don't, what do I want to say? Tolia brings up the fact that Alina is Shu,
Yes.
and so he thinks that she's going to be able to reunite the countries.
Right.
And I don't think she cared too much about that, but like it was a pointed thing
Yeah.
in part of his speech. But then she's like, okay, everybody leave except for Jesper.
Yeah, and I agree. I find it interesting that, like, I mean, she really doesn't seem to have that big of, like, I mean, care about it, and, like,
She doesn't acknowledge it.
no, not at all. And I'm trying to remember, like, one thing that they point out is, like, how I guess in the tale it says that it could, like, the blade could cut through shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember? Like, I haven't gone back to look, but I wondered, like, does it actually say in, like, the Lives of Saints that we read, like, whether that blade can cut through shadow? I just couldn't remember.
The book
I was
is
gonna
gone.
I'm gonna look into it real quickly and see because I'm very curious about it. But
Okay.
what did she do with what does she tell Jesper?
She tells Jesper that he is a crappy durist and he's too old to be a crappy durist. She's like, you could have taken the buttons out of your vest. You could have done something with the shoe buckle. You could have done so many things. But like the whole time she's telling him this, she's got like the blade resting on her first husband's coffin, which is kind of funny.
Ugh.
But Jesper, I think he asked her about his vision, and she said something about sometimes we just need the motivation or whatever. And I think that in the show gives Jesper the motivation as he's holding the sword, the blade. He's like, I have a lot of catching up to do. So I think in the show that's going to be explored a little more than obviously we do in the books, but he you can definitely see that he's
starting to think,
yeah.
and it's done so differently than the books. I feel like Jesper's an interesting character, and watching his progression also with him like coming to terms with being a Grisha, I think is one thing that's interesting to watch compared to the way that we read it. It's very different.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't know why he like, I mean, in the when we read it, I feel like it explained very well his like fear of being exposed. However, in the show, I don't feel like it does it justice and makes much sense to people.
Well, we exposed it real fast. So we don't get that, like, that he is just in complete denial over it and that nobody knows. We don't get that. Like, we get very early on. I mean, it's kind of towards the end of the first season, but we get that with Ivan being like, who are you or what are you?
Right.
And we can see him every time he shoots, he hits his mark.
I feel like
we didn't get that at all. Like just in the books, it was just that he was a good shot, and it wasn't until the ice court heist with the lock picking thing that we start to like, oh,
you actually see it.
and like for book readers, it is a major shock because we didn't get those moments of like, oh,
It's huge.
it's massive.
It took me like a while to actually like catch on to that. I don't even think I did catch on like the first time I like read all the way through it. I think it was actually you that like ended up pointing it out to me, and I don't know. You know me. I like sometimes when I read books I get so excited
You
I kind of like
do.
forget
It's
about
cute.
it's something. I don't know
But
if
he
it's
also, in this episode, gives Wylan his true feelings, and they kiss and make out in front of everybody.
well, you got to finally.
Yeah.
So okay, so I found the story and I'm looking through it. I'm not because obviously I'm not going to sit here and read it, but I am not seeing like at at last the final soldier fell. It says the sword was dubbed Neshianye, relentless, and can still be found in the palace of Amratjen. We know that its blade has never rusted, but I'm not.
I think in last week's episode, they talked about how it was the sharpest blade. And so I don't know if they said for sure that they 100% knew it would. Did you find it?
Yep, I did. Actually, it. She went to the family forge, and there she fashioned a blade so sharp it could cut shadow, and so strong it laughed at steel. So yes, that is in
So
there.
what a good like job for the writers to combine that story and the Nichavoya.
Yeah, and to see that connection, actually, like I
Yeah.
mean, the fact that she put that in there, it cut shadow and how it would connect to the Shadow and Bone trilogy, and like I just think that is really cool. That's
Yeah.
good
That's a
job,
fun
writer.
connection.
Absolutely. It's neat. And I love just all the different stuff. I know it's a lot in this season, but I think it's really cool and unexpected for us like book readers because we didn't
Mhm.
expect any of that. So, okay, what else went on in this episode?
The
What didn't go on in this?
right? I mean, the only thing that happened after that was what we talked about before with Alina and Mao, like, oh, Firebird. And now he has to die.
Yep.
She's gonna stab him and take his life. And instead of like sitting around crying about it, they go to bed together.
Yeah. She definitely she pretends that she hasn't like noticed that by chance he is the amplifier.
That whole thing. Like they're doing the whole Mortova thing. Bagra has basically like laid it out for her beforehand.
Yep.
They leave the cave. He closes the door and they run away and she still like hasn't said anything. The second, like if we're like hanging out and you're like only somebody could do this with his blood and you stood there and did it, I would have been like right then and there, I'd be like, oh my God, Eric. But no, Alina's just like, cool, let's go.
Do you think maybe she just
Like it's a denial thing?
yeah, and like so much stuff was going on that maybe she just was like, oh, that's weird.
I don't
How could he
know.
do that?
She's not that dumb.
You're right.
Like I literally would have been like,
Well-
oh my God. But no.
No, it's something. I think she definitely is in denial, like hardcore, because I mean, she out of everybody has even gotten like flashes of like memories from like the everything showing that their connection. But one thing also that I realized I didn't talk about that I thought was neat with this like whole storyline was when I think it's Bagra is talking to Mal and how Mal, I guess, like he went from like orphanage to orphanage until he found one that was like home.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Like I thought that was because that's not in the like stories, right? Like that we read.
Not in so many words. I
Yeah.
think it's implied that like they would always find each other because of the connection they have. That's how they found each other. But
That's I love that. I loved having that like laid out for me to like I don't know gobble up and enjoy. I love those little. I thought it was so cute and so cool, and trying to think what else with that. Like it was just. I feel like that was really well done and really well thought out. The way that they revealed this whole, just the fact that he is a Mortova, and you know me, I'm a geek. I love all the background story, and it's just really cool. So But hey, unfortunately, Bagra's gone and she's done, but she did a great job. Thank you, Bagra. So, I guess that was it for that.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, that was fantastic. Whew. There was a lot. But so this was episode 6 and we've
Two more.
got Oh my gosh, that's it?
Yep, only 2
Goodness
more.
gracious. We are just going through this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, it has been fantastic and yeah, we will see you all next week. Long live the Grishaverse.
Like, we're at the end of the hour, so my voice is a little husky. A+.
No mourners.
No funerals.
This has been GrishaCast. Connect with us on the web at GrishaCast.com. Send an email to info@GrishaCast.com.
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok at GrishaCast.
And thank you to our amazing staff, Chris, Michelle, Alex, Brenda. Mwah.